Behold the Lamb of God. Behold the Lamb of God. We hear it in the liturgy. We hear it in the words today. Behold the Lamb of God who takes away the sins of the world. Happy are we who are called to his supper. Behold the Lamb of God. The word behold means something very significant for us. At the time of Jesus, saying that word was reserved for people like kings, gods, people who were very important. Imagine yourself beholding Pope Francis, being in his presence. Imagine how you would feel to just glean from him that glow that he shares. Multiply that now, and you will understand John's excitement and exuberance. He didn't want you to miss it. He didn't want us to miss it. Behold the Lamb of God. John talks about behold in a way where we bask in the light of Jesus. We take him in. We absorb that light that Jesus radiates out to the world. We are to be carrying that light. He says something very unusual that fits though. He says, I did not know him, and he says it twice. How could he not know him? How could he not know Jesus? He was his cousin after all. Unless there's a deeper meaning here. Unless there's something more significant going on. Think about it. We might know people, but until we enter into their lives, do we really know them? Until we begin to experience from them that love and connection, do we really know them? That is what we're asked to do with Christ. To behold Christ, to enter into his life. Behold the Lamb of God. Today the church celebrates Migrant and Refugee Sunday. It has done so for 100 years. Many families here today have experienced the support of the church in their families. Do we accept the migrant? Do we accept the refugee among us? Do we accept the poor, the downtrodden, the outcast? Jesus tells us very clearly, Matthew 25, if you would like to read it. Jesus tells us very clearly, when I was hungry, you gave me to eat. When I was thirsty, you gave me to drink. When I was naked, you gave me clothes. When I was a stranger, you welcomed me. When I was in prison, you visited me. In these, we meet Christ. We also celebrate this week. Celebrate Life Week. There will be a march in Washington where hundreds of thousands of people will gather to share their light of Christ on the darkness in our nation. You see, each one of us is like a candle. There's all kinds of candles. Some are adorned with many fine jewels. Some are just plain. But a candle has no use until it carries the flame. As candles, we are to carry the flame of Christ to the world. Now, the candle is not the flame. It is not the flame. The flame is carried by the candle. We carry Christ's light to the world. Behold the Lamb of God. This is significant. This is not just, oh, hi, there's Jesus. It is, behold, Lamb of God. What can I gather in? How can I gather and bask in the light of Jesus so I share it with others? Do I behold the Lamb of God and the migrant and the refugee and the unborn child? Do I behold the Lamb of God in my neighbor? Do I behold the Lamb of God in those I do not agree with? God has put each person in our life as a gift. Sometimes we don't see it that way. Sometimes we struggle with their gift. It's our job to see it. There's a tale about a teacher of religion many years ago, many years ago, with his students. He asked a very strange question. He asked, how do you know the difference at dawn when night is gone and day has begun? His first student stands up and says, teacher, it's when I can tell the dog from the goat. The teacher says, no, that's not the right answer. The students pondered the question. Another one said, teacher, I think it's when I can tell the olive tree from the grapevine. The teacher says, no, that's not the answer. So the students thought some more and they said, look at teacher, please tell us what's the answer. The answer is when you have enough light within you that you can see in other people your brother and your sister. When you can see Christ in those in need. When you can see the child and the unborn, you have enough light. Behold the Lamb of God